Hi everybody, my name is Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food, living the keto lifestyle with a little Sarah School. Finally, the packaged salad entry from the book on the food industry, which I find quite fascinating. And the title of the chapter is interesting. It's called Engineering Consumption. So if you think that you're not being manipulated, even if you're snubbing your nose or sticking your tongue out at the food industry and the way the stores are laid out with buy me items in the carb, grainy, sugary world of obesity and diabesity, you're cray-cray. So it is being engineered all the time, even our choices of salads. So this is called Engineering Consumption, which I love. And it could also be manipulating consumption, right? So this is a little chapter in here about a repackaged market, bagged salad. And Earthbound played a significant role in continuing the de-skilling, which you could also say as making foods convenient, of the U.S. consumers by encouraging consumption of pre-washed, pre-cut bagged salads. In the process, it helped expand the firm that barely existed before 1990 to sales of approximately $4.1 billion. So Earthbound, if you find it now, you will find that there's not a lot of it. It is mostly organic, but they do a lot of private label marketing. And as we get further into the article, you will see that different companies provide places like Stop and Shop and Target and Walmart and BJ's and Costco with private labels, even Trader Joe's. But they also have their own label for sale in the stores. So they kind of are competing with themselves and probably not much for savings. So that $4.1 billion was in 2012. So if you don't think there's money in bagged salads, billions with a B. It also contributed to revitalizing product giants Dole and Chiquita, which were facing declining sales of the essentially unbranded commodity of lettuce. Unbranded, but yet it is a commodity for us, right? Sales of bagged salads are not only increasing, they are generating greater profits by incorporating a small amount of additional processing. So they really figured that one out. I mean, when you think of it before, I remember when bagged salads came out, and it's like, what will they think of next? But then they started putting little things in it that if you bought all of those different heads of lettuce or items, you know, you'd be spending $25 for produce that would go bad in a week, right? Pre-cut salads were developed for restaurants and institutional food services in the 70s. The founders of Earthbound were among the first to begin selling the packages in household sizes, though. And I remember that working in places like nursing homes and the recovery fields where they served food. They weren't required to cook their own. And, bags would come big, 10-pound bags. Same with restaurants, right? Big 10-pound bags of the pre-cut, so people could just put that iceberg lettuce with a little red in it and maybe a sliver of carrot. And then the people food prepping in the restaurants would add a cherry tomato, a little red onion, and they'd call that a salad. The Goodmans, the people who started Earthbound Farms, they started farming organic raspberries in '84 and then expanded into leafy greens. So that's 30-something years ago. When a key restaurant customer went out of business in '86, they faced a dilemma of what to do with their excess baby lettuce. Because they washed and bagged lettuce for their own personal consumption, they had the idea to sell it to a San Francisco natural foods store in much smaller packages. Organic salad mix made from an assortment of young leafy greens were already popular with upscale restaurants. Do you remember how they were describing those salads? Like when you read the menu? Do you remember the term they used? I didn't until I read this. Mesclun. Remember that? It was a a mesclun blend of blah, 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 and they could charge you $8 for it, and you'd pay it. And it, like, didn't even fill a bread and butter plate. Bread and butter. So, that was what happened then, mescaline. And then it contributed to that gourmet image that they wanted to be able to get the premium prices for this lettuce. And it was also called, by people like me that were always irreverent, yuppie chow. Yuppie chow. What's wrong with romaine, right? And I remember being in home ec when I got to take home ec 2 years in a row. I really should have been a chef or something because I loved home ec and I loved my teacher. And so how you would, and I'd never think of buying it today, much less eating it, the head of iceberg where you slammed it down on the core and pulled it out. And like when you were first in like your home ec class and you saw the teacher do that, you looked in amazement because here you were, you know, pulling off the couple of outer leaves and then just like slicing it right. But that was magic, pulling out that core. Isn't it funny what you remember and what you forget? I just saw a cartoon on Facebook. I didn't forget. I just didn't remember. I love that. Okay. So at first, Earthbound Farm controlled 70% of the U.S. sales of organic bag salads. And that's amazing. The success of organic salad mix quickly attracted imitators for conventionally grown leafy greens. Dole and Fresh Express were able to pay for the slotting fees that are required. And I've talked about those slotting fees, that especially with the Vital eggs. When you go to the store and you see that your almond milk or your Fage yogurt or your Pete and Jerry's or what's the other one, Eggland's Best, they're all at eye level, like Coffee Mate versus, you know, Italian, international or store brand. That's a slotting fee for the eye level, and they pay big, 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 huge bucks. And if you're not a contender, you can just say sayonara to your market share because people aim for, until they become brand loyal. And are you brand loyal? A lot of us are with our Kerrygold, a lot of us are with our organic heavy whipping cream, a lot of us are with our eggs, and I'm even brand loyal with Dawn because I get it at BJ's. So the slotting fees are prohibitive, and smaller organic farmers would sell out to the Doles and Chiquitas so they could get that slotting fee. So paid for. So maybe they only had like one little row, like of those bag salads that you see that, you know, are 4 feet by 8 feet at the stores. They had at least one or two of those places with their own brand still able to sell the home without, you know, selling out the name. They could still have a slotting fee. Firms that do not pay slotting fees are likely to lose the account, as I just said. Yet even after paying them, there's little guarantee of commitment on shelf space. And one way that they do that is to become a, what do they call it? I'm not sure what they call it, but what it is the sales rep for that company. And then they become the quote-unquote service manager for that particular store, maybe like all the Stop and Shops on Cape Cod or something like that, where they can go in and make sure that the slotting fee that they did pay is being shown by where the items are placed. And I'm sure that it's not a pleasant conversation with the store manager if they've been bumped and the store is trying to get away with something, right? No, they'd never do that. Dole, for example, does the private label packaging for Kroger and Walmart, and Earthbound does the same for Safeway, Trader Joe's, and Loblaws. I've never heard of Loblaws. So, anyway, this is big, big, huge business with a B for all of these. And the market share, Chiquita and Fresh Express have 32%, Dole 22%, Earthbound 6%, and Ready Pack 4.4%. So, as you can see, they have it. And as I learned when I was listening to this man being interviewed. He said that Earthbound remains true to their brand and hasn't sold out. So that's why when you see Earthbrand, and it's not huge, but it's in every market, you can only imagine the distribution fees that they end up paying bigger companies to get their products on every shelf, along with their private labeling. So, the only thing that, so now they're doing the clamshell ones, and that's even another big slice of the pie for these places, because it really is a convenience food at this point. So in that clamshell, you will find dressings, meats, cheese, fruits, and grains. And so people can run in, grab that salad, it's all set to go, and it's got all the goodies in it instead of doing a salad bar, which might be a pretty dismal experience if you get there at 12:35 and everybody has ravaged it from 11:30 on. Or the line's too long because it's lunchtime and all of you only have that much time. So you go in and you grab your little clamshell salad for like $5.99 and everything is in there. You also see that with the bag salads where it's like the Asian mix, the ranch mix, the whatever. And for a while I was doing those and throwing out the packets of all the croutons and the, additives and, the nuts that had been so processed. You're surprised that it still looks like a nut. So they also noticed that in aiming for the under 24 age, which is interesting, they do a lot of Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook placement of ads because the under 24 is on those places, and this is what they call it, and I absolutely love it. They are increasing mind space. So it sticks in your head. So if you see that ready pack to the right of your screen when you're, spending your 45 minutes of, lolling about time on Facebook, you see that ready pack enough times, you're going to finally see it in the store and go, oh, well, this is good, and it's on sale 2 for $8 at Stop and Shop, and wow, I'll buy 2 different, versions and flavors or whatever you would call it, styles, and see if I like them. And actually, that might be cheaper than what I'm doing, or something like that. Like when everybody goes out for lunch and you've got a couple of those in your office fridge, not bad, not a bad thing to have. So Ready Pack dominates the single-serve salad with 85% of the sales, and they even recently held an Instagram photo contest to promote their plastic clamshell salads with a $500 prize. So it might say engineering consumption. I say good for them. This is the salad thing. Now, there's many more articles in there about soy milk, which I wouldn't recommend, beer, which I'm not going to be talking about, but the salad bags and tubs and etc. and the brands and the placement is someplace where we can all agree, because hopefully most of us are having some sort of green leafy on a daily basis. So I just thought I'd do a little regurgitated Sarah School and show you that, like, when you walk by all those salads, just know that somebody is flying their private jet because of your purchases over my head to their mansion on Nantucket that they maintain, heat, manicure, and have cleaned year-round, and yet spend 2 weeks a year there. The Muffies and the Biffs. You're doing it. They got their jet. They're all set. Maybe a non-Norman Rockwell Thanksgiving and or Christmas or New Year's Eve there too. Or maybe the Nantucket Stroll, which is like the week before Christmas, where you can go and buy all your finery, all the things that you don't need for the high prices. Just saying. Who, me ranting? Mm-mm. Cynical, bitter, jaded? Mm-mm. No, I can take the ferry over there. So anyway, that's the little tale on salad bags. So just know that when you have that little green leafy, and yes, Deborah, wash and wash and wash and wash, just know that that green is like translates into big, big bucks for so many different hands all the way up. The distributor, the slotting fees, the placement in the stores with the slotting fees, where the managers, the bonuses, and then you come along and you buy that little tub for $5 that started off costing maybe, 20 cents to sell to one distributor, to sell to another, to sell to the private label, to amazing. Absolutely amazing. This has been Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food. Crunch on that. Bye-bye for now.